Have you seen a fallen tree in the forest? Have you stopped to observe it? You should. If only we could observe and understand what happens when a tree falls in the forest, everything would be so different. Everything would be better.
It's autumn, isn't it? It's fall. You can tell by the colors, you can tell by the temperature, by the rain. And you can tell by hundreds of leaves from these deciduous forests in the Araucanía region. There's the end of a cycle. The leaves are falling slowly to the ground, and they hit the ground in this incredible act that represents everything. When the leaf falls and hits the ground, some may see an end to a life, but what's really happening is the beginning of a whole cycle of rebirth, of regeneration, of decomposition. We call it decomposition, and some people don't like that. It's incredible how people associate decomposition to rotting to an end. But every leaf falling teaches you that with the end of one life form comes the beginning of another. Have you ever stopped to think that maybe the most noble part of a tree's life is once it hits the ground after losing all its leaves? The tree, while it was standing, was the habitat to thousands of birds that visited it, ate its seeds, dispersed its seeds, to thousands of insects that burrowed in its bark or that ate from the leaves. But when the tree falls is when the glory begins. It's when the tree is brought back to the soil.
Without the work of fungi, there would be no decomposition in the earth. There would be towers of hundreds of thousands of trees, leaves and organic matter in general piled up on the surface of the earth. Without fungi, there would be no trees, and without trees, there is no us.
This tree is teaching us very graphically that we have to let things rot. If this tree hadn't rotted to make this soil that I'm holding, then this plant that I'm watching sprout wouldn't exist. The whole cycle is right before our eyes. Composition of a tree, decomposition thanks to fungi, and then the beginning of a new cycle, another tree.
This process is inherent in all living beings, even in human beings. We are destined to decompose, and once we come to terms with this, it doesn't sound so bad.
I mean, if we see this, who would dare say that this is a dead tree? You know, this is a very much living organism. And ultimately, what's happening here between the tree, the insects, the woodpeckers, and the fungus is the creation of soil.
Yes, we fully owe our existence to these little friends, and it's time to say it. The most remarkable and fantastic actions are not necessarily visible. That is why mushrooms also teach us about humility. It is time to lose the fear of death. We must let things die. We must let things rot. We must allow each fallen tree to be decomposed by fungi to give rise to the earth and the soil that will house the seed that perhaps that same tree dropped, and thus start a new cycle.
And through the fungi, we can learn the importance of a cycle. We can learn the importance of seasonality. We can learn the importance of rebirth from death. And we can also look at it as death from life, but it's the same concept. There's no rebirth unless there's death, and there's no death if there's no life. Through observing our teachers, the fungi, we can learn to be better people, to accept cycles, the end of cycles, the beginning of others, to let things rot. We have to let things rot. And the fungi teach you that that's the best way to lead a life.
Today, more than ever, it is time to see that the only way to live well is learning to accept the end of cycles, to focus our energy on creating a new cycle. Let's watch the fall. Let's watch the mushrooms and learn more than ever how to die.